Good afternoon, everyone. I want to welcome you to our Upper Bound. This is actually going to be a combination new student and summer orientation. First of all, I want to introduce myself. I'm Keith Brink, and I'm the director of the Upper Bound programs. And I want to also introduce you. Well, thank you. Well, thank you. This is my fan base right here. But this is actually Lacey Gephardt with all the enthusiasm. Lacey is our assistant director. A lot of you new students probably remember talking with Lacey as she did lots of our interviews with you in the last few weeks. I also want to introduce over to my left, this is Vicki Hodges. Vicki Hodges is part of our central staff, and Vicki is our academic coordinator. So Vicki does all of our academics, supervises our instructors and our tutors. And for example, as you go through Upper Bound and you do ACT prep, or you need a tutor to help you with some of your subjects in high school, that's going to be all done by Vicki. So she handles all of our academics. And then we have our advisors. And one of our advisors who's on here, Angel Leach, we'll show you where she is. She's actually not with us today. She's with us in spirit, and she's got a little message to say hello to everybody. And again, some of you may have interviewed with Angel, but Angel is our Upper Bound 1 advisor. And then I want to introduce down here, Doris, if you'll stand up and wave. But Doris Guevara is our Upper Bound 2 advisor. Hey, Doris. And then Melinda Heater is our Upper Bound Math and Science advisor. And so we'll kind of describe what the difference between Upper Bound 1, Upper Bound 2, and Upper Bound Math Science is. Essentially, Upper Bound programs is comprised of 3 different grants. Oh, before I do that, let's just say hello to Angel here. We'll let Angel say hello to us. So do you want to say where Angel is, Lacey?
Angel's at the beach right now, which I think is really rude. She made those plans before this orientation was scheduled, and I'm not jealous at all. So.
Yeah, so I'm going to tell you a little bit more about Upward Bound, but again, the purpose of today is actually to orient you to Upward Bound. We know all of you are new students. We're so very excited to have you joining our program and being with us for the next 3 or 4 years as you go through high school. And then, of course, we'll be keeping up with you even beyond high school as we see where you go and which college you enter and when you get your college degree. So we're going to be following you for a while. And so the other thing that I wanted to emphasize today is that we're going to kind of do a combination between what is Upper Bound and kind of an orientation to the Upper Bound program, as well as our summer program, our summer academy. So normally we recruit our students earlier in the year, but COVID has changed a lot of things. So we've changed our recruitments. We're doing a much later recruitment. So actually we're going to do a combination today where we're going to tell you about Upper Bound, and then we'll talk a little bit more specifically about the summer academy, which is a little different than it normally is, but we'll get into all of that. But first of all, what is Upward Bound? Just want to let you know, first of all, Upward Bound is a program that's funded through grants from the Department of Education. And so we're fortunate to actually have 3 separate Upward Bound grants. One is we call Upward Bound 1, the other one is Upward Bound 2, and then there's Upward Bound Math and Science. And essentially, they're similar programs who all have the similar goals. The Math and Science program has a little bit more math science focus, but essentially, the difference between our Upward Bound programs has to do with the schools that we actually serve. And we'll show you a slide that kind of shows you the different school districts that we serve with those different programs. But we like to think of ourselves as Upward Bound programs, one big happy family. We do all of our activities together, like our Saturday academies, our summer program, and so forth. So all of you are in Upward Bound. You just may be designated to be in one of those specific ones, like Upward Bound 1, Upward Bound 2, Upward Bound Math Science. And we'll let you know which one that you are a part of, especially when you get here this summer. And then also just want to say that because we are grant funded, we're very provide all of our services in Upward Bound free to our students. So all of the things that we do in Upward Bound, whether it's housing you here in the summer, taking you on a special field trip, being able to provide meals for you, and even when you graduate high school, being able to provide you with up to 6 credit hours of college during what we call our bridge program, all of those things are paid for by the program. You're even eligible for a stipend, which I'll talk about a little bit later, which is for your participation in Upward Bound. So the good news is Upward Bound doesn't cost you anything from a monetary standpoint, but I always like to emphasize that Upward Bound does cost you an investment of your time and your effort. But the great thing about Upward Bound is the more you put into it, the more you get out of it. And so I always like to say that it's going to come back to you 2-fold, 4-fold, and beyond. So by putting in that extra work, going above and beyond, being part of the Saturday academies, being part of the summer doing all the things that Upper Bound provides you is going to give you that extra, that head start going into your next year of high school, giving you extra help to prepare you for your ACT and preparing you for college. So all of those things are what Upper Bound provides for you. So there is that investment that I can promise you will come back to you in many, many ways. And you're going to find, I think, that Upper Bound is a very special place, comprised of a lot of very special people. So again, our goal is to be a college preparation program. So we want you to be successful in high school. So we're going to assist you to do the best you can. But we also want to prepare you that when you graduate from high school, that you can enroll in the post-secondary education program of your choice. And Lacey may talk a little bit more about that. But Upper Bound isn't a one-size-fits-all either. So we don't expect all of our students to, for example, come and attend the University of Arkansas. You'll have a lot of experience being on this campus because you'll come and spend summers here. But all our students don't come to the University of Arkansas. Some start out at Northwest Arkansas Community College. Some go to Arkansas Tech or UCA. We even have students, we have a graduate, just graduated, right, from Princeton University. We have another one that's graduated from MIT. So we have students kind of all over the place. And again, it's very individualized. So we like to work with you. And that's the other thing that's great about Upper Bound. We're a large enough program. We serve a total of 200 students every year, but we're small enough that we can give that individual attention, especially when you get to be a senior. So that's going to be something to really look forward to. And this summer, it's a little bit different. Normally, we have all of our rising sophomores, which you all are rising sophomores, even though you're ninth graders now, we're going to start calling these sophomores because you're going to be going into your sophomore year. But all of our rising sophomores and juniors and rising seniors are normally all together on campus for what we call our summer academy. Normally it's 5 weeks and we spend a 6-week one on the trip. But this summer is a little bit different. We're calling this our COVID summer that Lacey has coined, which means that we're actually going to do shorter time on campus. You're going to be doing 2 weeks just as rising sophomores. So we'll have just our smaller group of sophomores and then our smaller group of juniors and then our smaller group of seniors in 2-week increments. But that actually is going to give us some advantages, I think. It's going to make a very special kind of a summer program, very intensive 2 weeks that we're here together and get to know one another and do some very cool activities and very cool academic enrichment. So we're very excited about that, which we're going to talk about in just a moment. So, Lacey, do you want to step in and take this part? Because they're probably tired of hearing me talk.
They keep this beautiful agenda. No, I'm just kidding. So like Keith mentioned, a lot of the differences between our 3 programs, we all function as one big program. We live together, we eat together, we do our activities together. But depending on which school you go to may dictate which program you're in. And then if you're at the Springdale schools, which several of y'all are from Lakeside this year, I'm super excited about that. You may be in either of the 3 programs, depending on which program had more applicants from their other schools. So just so you know what we're talking about whenever we talk about Upper Bound 1, Upper Bound 2, and Upper Bound Mass Science. I just wanted to point this out really quick. We do have a website, ub.uark.edu. And a couple of things I want to point out. We do have our calendar up there, and we try to keep that pretty up to date. So if you're like, oh, I lost my flyer, or what was the date on that again? This is always a really good resource to find that. So like right now, Saturday, 1 to 2:30, we're at the summer orientation, and we can click this and that'll bring up that flyer with the location change that we had last minute. I do apologize for that. That was out of our control. Somebody with a little more power than us took that over. So, but I also wanted to show you, and you guys know where this is, but we do still have a few spaces open for new students. You know, we would really love to have about 5 to 10 more students this summer. So if you have a friend that's like, oh, it's too late for me to apply, it's not too late for them to apply. We can also take them in the fall. So it's not like there's a super big time crunch, but if you have somebody in your life that you think would be a good fit for this program, maybe one of your friends, encourage them to apply. We do still have a few spaces open. So yeah, that's our website. And then, so Keith kind of talked about big picture stuff. Talked about what we're all about. We're all about getting students ready for college. Well, how do we do that? That's a really big goal. And like he said, we want to make sure that we're helping you be a good student while you're in high school and also have everything that you need to be a good college student and have all the knowledge and information you need to succeed in college. So how we do that is we work with you year round. So a lot of times whenever people think of Upper Bound, they do think about the summer. But we work with our students year round. So during the academic year, we have one Saturday a month. We call it our Saturday Academy, where students come on campus from 9:30 to 2:45. Daytona, what do we eat at Saturday Academy? You get pizza. We eat a lot of pizza with Upper Bound. So Daytona is here with her sister, and she is an alum of our program that's in college. So I'm gonna call her out. I'm sorry, Daytona. She was also in the Upper Bound Student Council, so she has to be a leader. So yeah, we have Saturday academies. We eat pizza. We take classes in the morning and the early afternoon. Those classes are usually to help with your literacy, to help with your reading and your English, and also what we call seminar classes. So we'll explore different college majors, different careers, different types of schools, and also whenever you get to your senior year, it's going to be definitely a workshop time. So Keith said earlier that we could hold you hostage, and that sounded a little scary. So, but no, for seniors, it's a really good time where you don't have any distractions. We're in a computer lab. We have all of these resources available to you to apply for scholarships. Like you can get some stuff done on your checklist. So that's a lot of what we do at the Saturday Academies. We also come out to your schools once a month and we'll do a workshop. So we might talk about study skills or stress management, or which classes you should sign up for the next year, or test taking tips, all sorts of different topics, and we'll work with you at your schools. And it's also just a time for us to connect with you and see if there's anything you need from us. We also do extra activities that aren't mandatory, but you can sign up and participate if you want. We like to do service projects, cultural events. Also, we really like doing campus visits. Like Keith said, we're hosted by the University of Arkansas. We don't recruit for the University of Arkansas. We want you to find the college that's the best fit for you. So we want to take you to different campuses, and maybe you'll think, hey, here at Arkansas Tech, it's a little bit smaller and there aren't all these hills I have to climb up. Maybe that's a good fit for you. That would be a good fit for me. But yeah, we'll explore different places and do different activities. We also have tutoring. And so we have an amazing staff of tutors that Ms. Vicki Hodges supervises. And those tutors could be, if you're in a little bit of academic trouble and you're needing some help to bring that grade up so you can get that credit. But at the same time, if you're like, I want to raise my science score on my ACT, I'm trying to get it to this specific number and I need some extra help to get it there. We'll hire you a tutor to work with you one-on-one to achieve your goals, whatever those goals are. So that's a little bit of what we do in the academic year. But the big thing we do is the summer. A lot of folks think about the summer. And so because this is a new student orientation, we do want to talk about our normal Saturday summer academy, which hopefully next summer we'll be getting back to, and it'll look a lot more like this. So normally we do have a 6-week residential summer academy. So the first 5 weeks of that program, students are on campus taking classes in the morning and the early afternoon, doing activities later in the afternoon and on weekends, and in the evenings. And then on weekends, our students typically go home. The 6th week of the program is typically our trip. So we'll go on a 3-day, 2-night trip. So if you don't get into any behavioral trouble in the hall and you make a C or higher in all your classes, you earn the trip. And we do that Tuesday through Thursday on the 6th week of the program. We typically move in around mid-June and move out the end of July. We have classes. A lot of them are geared towards helping prepare you for your next year of high school. So if you were taking geometry and biology in the fall, that's what you would take over the summer as well. We also have extracurricular fun activities. And I talked about our trip. Parents that are here, I would like to say that we take your child's safety and supervision very seriously. We typically hire a 17-person residential staff, in addition to our instructor staff and the 6 of us that work here year-round. We are very physically present with your students to make sure everything goes smoothly, and we can do everything we can to ensure their safety. But yes, so this is what a normal summer academy looks like. We'll talk a little bit more of our COVID summer academy. Maybe I shouldn't have called it COVID. It's our hybrid summer academy. Keith mentioned briefly our bridge program. I always like to bring that up because to me, the bridge program is kind of the big payoff at the end of Upward Bound. You participate with us from your 9th grade all the way up until your senior year. And that summer after your senior year, Upward Bound is going to pay for you to take up to 6 credit hours at the University of Arkansas. So whenever we crunch the numbers, that's about a $5,000 scholarship that you're going to get at the end of Upward Bound, where we're going to pay for your tuition, your fees, your books, your housing, your food, your goggles, anything you need for your classes, we'll pay for that. And we'll also live in a residence hall on campus. We'll be able to give you some extra structure with that you might not have that fall whenever you start college, you know, where you will have a curfew, you'll have some mandatory study time and some things like that. But I think it's just an amazing program, and it helps you transition. It's that bridge between high school and college, and it's kind of the culmination of your Upward Bound experience. So that's something that you can look forward to here in a few years. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Doris. She's going to talk a little bit more about the commitment that you as students are making to be part of this program.
Good afternoon, my name is Doris Guevara and I'm an advisor. I'm going to talk about the students' commitment, general conduct, and our expectations of students. So the students must maintain at least a 2.5 GPA, and in order to be part of the bridge program, you must maintain a 3.0. Also, maintain good attendance and work hard while you are here. Call before if you will not be able to come to a meeting or event. And remember to set and achieve the goals of enrolling in and completing a 4-year bachelor's degree program at a college or university, beginning the fall after high school graduation. And remember, the key to succeeding in this program is to communicate with your advisor and let them know every step of your education, and let us know when you're not going to be present to any events. And now Melinda is going to talk about the parents' commitment.
Hi, I'm Melinda. The main way that parents can help our students is to provide transportation to all required Upward Bound events. One Saturday a month, we'll need you to have them here by 9:30 and to pick them up by around 2:45 or 3. And then in the summer, you know, be sure to, you know, be able to bring them to drop them off. This summer, the hybrid summer, you'll just need to drop them off on a Sunday night and then pick them up on the 2 weeks later on a Saturday. So you don't have to do a lot of transportation. In a normal summer, you would have to like come and drop them off on a Sunday and pick them up on a Friday each week. So this summer's a little easier on that. But of course, they can always carpool. Please support your student participation. You know, keep up with them, ask them questions about what they're doing. Also support their academic goals. You know, like Doris was saying, we have some GPA standards, and if they are unable to keep that, we can do some tutoring. And if at all possible, try to schedule summer vacations where they don't happen at the same time we're meeting in person. So that would be a great help. And I guess I'm back to Keith.
Thank you, Melinda. Okay, so again, our hybrid summer academy, we're not going to call it now.
Whatever you want to.
Okay, so but
2021.
yeah, so again, we sort of tried to tell you that again. Next summer, we'll be back to our normal summer academy, which will again be a much larger group, and we'll be on campus together for 5 weeks, and then do that cultural trip to a city like Kansas City or Dallas or St. Louis. That's part of that 6 weeks. So that's a normal summer academy. But this year, again, like I said, we're going to be broken down into what we call our cohort groups. So you all will be Summer Academy Rising Sophomores. So again, we're going to call you sophomores since you'll be entering your sophomore year in the fall. And so your on-campus time will begin June 6th, which will be your move-in time. And this might be a good time to actually, you've got your nice folder if you want to take that out. And there's a lot of forms in here. We apologize for so much information, but we're kind of again doing a combination between the summer orientation and the new student orientation. So those forms that are actually to your on your left side will kind of be the Summer Academy, and we're going to kind of hit those first. And so you do have a little reminder move-in card. It looks like this. And that one actually has the time again to be Sunday, June 6th. And we scheduled the move-in time for you all from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. So you have that full hour to move in. And we're going to be actually staying in Futrall Hall. So Futrall Hall is one of the residence halls here on campus. We won't get a chance to see it today, but if you want to drive by it when you leave here, there's no map to it. It's actually on, you can actually go up Maple Street and go by Lindell Avenue, or you can actually also see Futrall Hall from Garland Avenue as well. But that's the residence hall that we'll be staying in. And the good thing about the residence hall is it has, we're going to be the only group in there, of course. And because, again, of some of the COVID restrictions, we've got a full residence hall to ourselves, and we're going to have the ability to put every student that would like a single room, or that's actually what we're going to do. We're planning to put everybody in a single room unless you choose to have a roommate. So if you know somebody else that's in the program, there is the option to have a roommate. And Lacey will talk just a little bit about that. But for the most part, of course, we will have all of our students separated on floors by gender. And she'll talk a little bit about some of that as well, kind of how we're housed in the residence hall. But it's a great residence hall for us because there's lots of common space. And that's going to be kind of our community for those 2 weeks. And we're excited actually to be back in Futrall Hall after not having been there for a couple of actually summers. So again, hang on to that. Lacey will also talk about what to pack, what not to pack. So we'll go through all of that. The other thing is you have another form there. Looks like this. This is actually your schedule. This is sort of the generic schedule. It has some information, not every specific piece of information, but it gives you an idea of what we're going to be doing for those 2 weeks when you're here on campus. So again, if you look at it on week 1, when we're on campus, that's June 6th through June 12th, that first week. Again, we're going to be moving in, or you all will be moving in between 4 and 5 p.m. to Futrall Hall. We'll get you all moved in, and we're going to talk about all of that and kind of what to bring and what to expect. And then parents, once you get them moved in, you're going to be able to say goodbye to them, and we'll take them from there. But again, the one thing we definitely want to assure you is that we're going to have them in very good hands. Lacey will talk a little bit about our residential staff. Our residential coordinator has been with us now 14 summers. He's an outstanding leader in our residence hall, comes back and does that. We've got outstanding residential staff that'll be with us. So again, like Lacey said, we get full supervision. The students, when they're here on campus with us, don't have they always have to be supervised anywhere they are on campus. So just always know that as well. So we take that very, very seriously. But again, as far as how things will go, we'll be feeding them. Again, most of the time they'll actually be eating in our dining hall, which is Fulbright Dining Hall, so they get lots of good food. But we do also have, sometimes we'll do pizza, or we might have a special night where we'll eat out or have some special field trips. But they'll eat breakfast typically early in the morning. So sorry you got to get up so early. But the good news is the dining hall is just right across the street. We'll be eating at Fulbright. But you'll have breakfast early, and then you'll do your class. And your classes this summer will revolve around a research project. We call it a STEM project. And then you'll also have a math and an English class. So those are going to be your primary classes between 8 and noon. And while I'm talking about that, I want to go ahead and point out this little form right here. It's a little card. It's a lime-colored card. And the reason I want to point that out is because I need you to fill a few things out on here, and Lacey does as well. But while I'm talking about academics, if you look over where it says summer research, there's something that has a little box by it that says the art of engineering, and another one that says pie and design. Do y'all see that? Okay, so you all will be split up into 2 different groups, 2 different sections of your science research. And you get to kind of make a selection, or at least a preference of which one of these you'd most like to be in. If you're a person who's a little bit more artistic, a little bit more towards the design side of things, creative side of things, you might prefer the art of engineering. because you're going to be doing some very cool stuff. It's still going to be science and everything, but it's a little more design-based and a little bit more artsy-based. High-end design, on the other hand, is a little more computer coding and a little more computer programming and doing some robotics kind of stuff. So if that sounds more like your thing, you might put it as your first choice. So maybe put a 1 and a 2, number 1 choice, number 2 choice. Or if you have no preference, just put no preference or I'm good with either one. And that just helps us divide you based a little bit on your preference as far as what kind of research area. They're both going to be outstanding. They're both going to be guided by our science faculty, and they are Dr. Gary Bates and Dr. Michelle Bates, who are both faculty at Northwest Arkansas Community College, and they're working with us probably now about almost 20 years that they've been doing this sort of stuff, and you're going to really enjoy and learn a ton when you're here on campus with them. And then in addition to that, like I said, you're also going to be in a math and an English class. Then we'll get to eat lunch, take a little break, and then after lunch, we have time that you'll actually, 2 days a week, you're going to be in an elective class. And so for this summer, we have 2 electives. Normally we have around 5 or 6 to choose from, but because our groups are smaller, we only have 2. But you get to choose between being in the art elective, so if you're an artistic person, like to draw, paint, artist kind of thing. If you prefer the art elective, write art. We forgot to put that on the card, so you actually have to write that. So put either art or juggling. So you may think juggling, that's actually a very interesting elective that we're offering this year. We have a professional juggler that's going to come in, teach students how to juggle, but beyond that, even about the history of juggling, even the mathematics involved in juggling. So that's going to be a really fun elective. So those electives, either art or juggling. Again, put your preference, and we'll try to give you your preference, but we will have to divide this up somewhat evenly. The other thing you'll do after lunch, if you're not, the day you're not doing your elective, so like you might be in Monday, Wednesday elective, or you might be in Tuesday, Thursday elective. On the day when you're not doing your elective, you're going to be in what we call sophomore seminar. In the seminar, kind of like Lacey was talking about, that's where we're going to get to do some career exploration, have some special guest speakers, talk to you more about how to be a better student. So we call that our seminar time. We'll do that, again, 2 days a week, as well as do some special presentations. I know Vicki has worked very hard to get some very special presenters to come and talk to us during that time. And we'll also do some different group meetings. So our afternoon academics are either going to be those electives or the seminar time or some special presentations that we'll do. And then we'll also have a little bit of quiet time or study time before we do what's called personal recreation time. And Lacey, do you want to step in and talk anything about the PRT? And Lacey's going to talk a little bit more about, see, I got to talk about all the academics. She gets to talk about all the fun stuff.
Awesome. So yes, in the afternoons, we always make sure that we have some PRT, some personal recreation time. And that's a time that you can really choose what activity you'd like to do. If you'd like to take a nap, which is probably what I would do after having breakfast at 7:20 in the morning. So some of our students will take a nap. Some of our students that are student athletes will choose to go to the hyper gym and work out and lift the things and run the legs and whatever else you athletes do. We've had students that have worked on band or choral music during that time, if that's something you're preparing for, or just hanging out in the lobby and playing Uno. We have some pretty intense Uno games that will go down. So that's just a time for you to choose. We also, all of our residential staff members will typically host a club. And so those clubs are really based on their interest. And so if you're interested in cooking, we generally have a cooking club. I'm trying to think of some of the clubs we've had in the past. Nail art club, indoor soccer club. We had British BBC club where we watch Doctor Who. It's just whatever fun activities the mentors want to do. So it's kind of a downtime where you can choose what you'd like to do. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the activities we're going to be doing this summer. I wanted to, first of all, thank Keith. I know that the COVID restrictions were kind of in the middle of, maybe some things lightening up. We want to make sure that we are safe and follow all of the guidelines for the campus. But at the same time, we still want to do stuff. So Keith definitely empowered me to be a little bit pushy this summer and get some things planned whenever things were a little hazy on whether we could or not. So we got some things, and now people have given us the okay to do those. So that's good. So we're going to be going off campus a few times. We're going to go to Fastlands one night. We're going to go to Top Golf. Has anybody here been to Top Golf? I haven't. I'm so excited. It's in Rogers, and apparently there's a bunch of different fun games. And I'll tell you, I'm not very good on a putt-putt course, but apparently this is even more fun than that. And we're going to have like a buffet style thing. On Saturday, that y'all are here with us, we can't do our 3-day, 2-night trip, but we are gonna get off campus and go on a little field trip. We're gonna go to Branson, hang out at Silver Dollar City, go on the Branson Bell and watch the show and eat dinner there. So that'll be a lot of fun. And then on that Sunday that you're here with us, that's a little bit of a chill day. We're gonna give you some personal recreation time in the morning, so you can sleep in if you want. I would like to point out that in your packet on that left side, there is a yellow form that you can fill out if need be. This is our absence request form. So like I said, I know that a lot of times Sundays can be family time. So if you're planning to check out for church or something like that, or just to be with family, just let us know whenever you're planning to check out. And we have some extras of these forms if you need more than that. I mean, our preference would be that you stay with us the whole time because we're going to have a lot of fun. But at the same time, I know some of you may have to get your orthodonture tightened or some kind of checkup. You know, there are things that always come up. So please just let us know when you plan to be absent so that we can plan for that and know how much you'll be gone. But yeah, so that Sunday, we're gonna kind of chill out in the morning, and then we're gonna be going to the movies that afternoon. So yeah, and then kind of similar through the next week, we'll have activities. And then whenever we move out on that Saturday, we'll have move out from 11 to noon. And then we'll have kind of a grab and go barbecue at this place called The Gardens on campus. So it's outside and you'll be able to grab your barbecue and say all of your see you laters to your new Upward Bound friends. So definitely look forward to having some fun, eating some good food this summer. I like how I talk about the activities, and I definitely focus on the food. Well, we do like to eat yummy food, and we also eat a lot of pizza. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the highlights from your handbooks. In your packets, you'll have both a student handbook and a summer handbook, and I just want to go over that. Some of the high points, I'm not going to dig too deep into the nitty-gritty, but there are 3 big rules that I always like to point out. We know that students in our program realize that it is a privilege to be able to be part of Upward Bound. There are students that, you know, even though we still have spaces available, there are students that apply to be part of Upward Bound that we did not accept into the program because we didn't think for one reason or another that they would be successful. So it is a privilege, and we want to make sure that students know that there are a few rules that if you can't follow them, then you kind of don't earn the privilege to be part of Upward Bound. So our 3 big rules for the summer, we don't do any bullying, any sort of harassment, any sort of hate speech or derogatory language towards people. That's just very important for us to be both in a physically safe environment, but also just like to be emotionally safe with each other. It's very important for us to be able to trust and be comfortable with each other. And so we just kind of can't tolerate that in our program. The other big one is drugs, alcohol, nicotine. Those are university policies, but in addition to that, we don't tolerate that in our program. Again, we don't generally have very much behavioral issues with Upward Bound. You guys are amazing students and very excited about your future, so we don't deal with this a lot, but just those are 2 of the big ones. And then the 3rd big one is that our residence hall is divided by gender. People of different genders will be assigned different floors, and you are not to be on the floor of the opposite gender. So those are kind of our 3 big ones for the summer. So Upward Bound, we are hosted by the University of Arkansas. This is our home, and we have offices. They're not on the main campus, but we do have an office space. But other than that, all the space that we use, we borrow from people. So like right now, we're in an engineering building. We're going to live in the residence hall. We're going to eat in the dining hall. All of our classrooms over the summer, we're borrowing from different departments. And so we're guests in those spaces. And I just have to let y'all know, Upward Bound has a really good reputation on this campus. There are things that I'll ask if I can do, and I'll get a no, and then they'll find out I was Upward Bound, and they'll be like, oh, no, your kids are good. Like, They don't leave trash. They're always respectful. They're never hateful. They don't, vandalize things, all that kind of stuff. And so I know that y'all will just continue to keep our reputation on this campus really good. It gives us opportunities to do things like, some of the abilities that we have to swim in the hyper and some of the different classrooms and spaces that we're allowed to use, because y'all always act right and always make us look really good. So keep making me look good. I know that you will. Attendance is very important for us, especially if we're only together in person for 2 weeks. Being present as absolutely much as you can. But even looking forward into the academic year, your attendance is so critical to your success in the program. Keith, would you like to talk about stipends real quick? Yeah, so I don't forget.
Yeah, so stipend, one of the things that you get, I think I may have mentioned this right at the beginning, but part of our grants will allow us to provide stipends, which are sort of like participation payments that go to students. So your participation, you're actually rewarded with a small stipend during the academic year each month that you participate, and also during the summer. Typically in the academic year, that's around $40. In the summer, it just depends. But this summer, we're actually, because of some different things that the Department of Education has allowed us to do, we're actually going to give a little bit more stipend than normal. So this summer, we're able to double what we call our summer stipends, as well as provide what's called a meal per diem during those weeks when you're not on campus. So the 4 weeks that you do virtual, you'll still get a stipend and a meal per diem. And then the 2 weeks that you actually participate, you'll get a stipend. So this summer, what that means for you all is it'll average about $100 per week that you participate. So altogether, those 6 weeks, you'll get $600 for your participation. So that's a pretty good deal, right? Now, we can't promise that every summer. Part of that just has to do with the way that things worked out with the COVID, but you always will get some amount of stipend for the weeks that you participate in the summer, as well as during the academic year. So we're very excited about that. It's kind of a nice reward. It also covers any miscellaneous expenses that you may have with the program. And again, I just want to reemphasize that all those fun things that Lacey was talking about, Top Golf, Silver Dollar City, the Branson Bell, all those sorts of things, those are covered by the program 100%. So there's going to be any out-of-pocket costs for that. Really, again, it comes back to your time, and then also some transportation you may have to do to get back and forth from the program. So just want to emphasize that. So I'll let you go back.
Thank you. Yeah, so we will cover everything in Branson. I'm going to be getting some kind of slack probably from the wildfire. Because that was the first upside down roller coaster I ever rode when I was like 14 years old. So I'm going to revisit it and maybe get something. So I'm gonna come back to this lime green card that Keith was talking about earlier with some of your classes. We asked about your housing preference. Like we said, we have space for everybody to have a single room, and that is our current plan. But if you are like me and you're like, I think Future Hall might be haunted. I don't think it's actually haunted, but if you get a little scared, you want your roommate, Vicky. Hey, best friend. I would put down that I wanted Vicky to be my roommate. But if you would rather have a single room, that's what we're planning for all of you, unless you indicate otherwise. Also, I'm asking for your t-shirt size and your dietary restrictions. So I always like to say that there's a difference between dietary restrictions and dietary preferences. I don't like anything that's kind of squeaky. So like mushrooms or olives. I don't like raw onions. I don't like cilantro. What else don't I like, Keith? Pineapple on pizza. I do not like. Vicky loves it. Anyways, those are all my dietary preferences. But I was a vegetarian for a couple of years. That was a dietary restriction. So if you're vegetarian or vegan, if you have an allergy, if there's something that you truly cannot eat because it's a restriction, let us know and we'll work with you as best we can. But if you're going to put I don't know, any of my dietary preferences, if you're like, I don't like raw onions, like, okay, we'll have to pick them off together maybe. So we're going to talk about what to bring. Keith has put this on your move-in card, so you have this, and it's also in your summer handbook, but just to kind of talk through this. So the residence hall rooms, they all have a desk, a set of drawers, and a twin-size bed for each occupant of the room. But it would be necessary for you to bring sheets and blankets or a sleeping bag and a pillow for your twin size bed. You're definitely going to want something to help you wake up in the morning. towels, washcloth, because it is July in Arkansas, and you know that smell of teenagers, and a lot of them, and it's hot, and me, and so yeah, we're gonna keep our hygiene up this summer. So all of your individual toiletries, shampoo, deodorant, toothbrush, toothpaste, all that kind of stuff. We do have washers and dryers in the residence hall, and they are free to use. So if you would like to do laundry while you're here, you would just need to bring your own detergent. It's a good idea to bring a backpack because you will have some supplies from us. We do have the upward bound curse, which means like it seems like every year on the first day of classes it's raining. So if you have a raincoat or an umbrella or something you can bring in case it rains, that's always a good idea. Here are some things that you might want to bring. So flip-flops in the shower so you're not sharing everybody else's foot funk. If you want to decorate your room, a swimsuit for the hyper pool. We're going to be swimming a few times throughout the summer if you want to. Change for the vending machines. You are allowed to bring a small microwave or a small refrigerator. The residence hall has a full-size one in the kitchen area, so you are welcome to use those as well. But if you're like, no, I need my 5:30 a.m. popcorn, you can bring your own microwave. We have plenty of calculators and laptop computers for you to use, but if you would like to bring your personal one from home, if you already have one, you're welcome to bring that as well. And then we have a few things to leave at home. So we ask that you leave video games and televisions at home. I know people play video games on their computers and on their phones, but part of our goal at Upward Bound is if you are playing your video games or any sort of gaming, that you would try to make it communal and that you would try to make it where you're playing with other Upward Bound students, because that's kind of part of the benefit of being part of the program, is getting to be around people from all different schools from all over Northwest Arkansas. And then the rest of these are part of university policy. So no kind of cooking appliances, including hot plates, no incense or candles. That includes candle warmers. Those are all viewed as fire hazards. And then nothing with wheels like bicycles, rollerblades, and skateboards, because none of those are supposed to be ridden on the university sidewalks anyway. And so we'll just be walking. So yeah, and then we have some forms. A lot of them we've already talked through, but have a few more that Keith can explain to you.
Yeah, so we'll apologize again. I know we've got a lot of forms, so we're going to kind of go over those. That'll be kind of our wrap-up part here, and this might also be a good time here before we get into the forms. We might pause for some questions, but I also just wanted to do one other thing as far as your schedule goes, because we talked about the time that you're going to be on campus, which is actually June 6th all the way until June 19th, and we kind of talked about that. But then after that, you'll have 4 weeks of what we call your virtual summer academy. And we'll provide you with that schedule. It'll be a much more reduced schedule where we're just going to be, you're going to have 2 weeks of math and 2 weeks of English that will be sort of an extension from what you did on campus. But we're going to try to make it, we know that everybody's kind of very weary of doing virtual learning and that sort of thing. So again, we apologize, but it does give us an opportunity to complete our summer academy by having that additional 4 weeks, plus that big benefit of the stipend. So it is definitely going to be worth it. Plus, you will get some great benefits. Our instructors, our English instructors in particular, and our math instructors are going to continue that with you. But that will be probably about 50 minutes a day, sometime either in the morning, late morning, or early afternoon. We're still working with the times, we'll give that to you. But that's where you will kind of build that in and finish out your academics virtually for those additional 4 weeks. And Lacey mentioned laptops. Again, if you want to bring your own laptop, that's great. But upon move-in, we're going to provide each of you, check you out a laptop that you can use while you're here on campus those 2 weeks. Plus, you can utilize that laptop to do your virtual learning with, so your virtual class. So you'll actually get to take that with you. That'll help you. And we'll also work with you just in case there's any issues with internet connections and things like that. I know that some folks still have a little bit of issue. We can kind of work those things out to make sure that you can benefit and do all the virtual stuff. So hopefully we'll talk about all that. And again, we'll give you all of your supplies once you move in. So now back to the paperwork, right? Okay, Lacey says yes. Okay. So we have the summer paperwork. So we've already talked about the line card. So hopefully you have that. You want to put that in your white envelope. So you're going to take the red folder with you. That's going to be yours to keep. But the white folder we would like back with as many of these forms that are completed as possible. And so you're going to put that one in there with your T-shirt and your research choice and all that sort of stuff on there. Also, you're going to put, there is a page at the end of this one. This is your summer handbook. At the very end, you're going to sign a page that basically says that you're agreeing to all of the things with the Summer Academy that we've talked about today. So you'll tear that page off and put it in. You'll keep the handbook, though. Keep the handbook, but just give this that last page. There's also this lilac colored page. This one is called the Emergency Contact and Medical Information. And so this is emergency contact information that we'll need from each of you, plus any medical information. So if there are any kind of medicines that you take on a regular basis, or any medical conditions that we need to be aware of, and I don't know, Lacey, do you want to say anything about that?
Yeah, so we keep all of that information very secure, but like Keith said, if there's any medical situations that we should be aware of so that we can be helpful in any way, we'd love to know about that. And as far as medications, we will work with you on an individual basis. So if, as a parent, you come to us and you say, my child takes this medication every day, they do it on their own at home, they can take it every day on their own and can keep it in their room, and that'll be totally fine with us. Or if you would like to say, I typically remind my child to take this medication, you can give that to us upon move-in, and our assistant residential coordinator will make sure that your child gets their medicine when they need it and are reminded to take it whenever they need to. So parents will just really follow your lead on that as far as medications, and if you would prefer a member of the staff to make sure that that's taken the way it's supposed to be, or if it's something that your child has a track record of being able to keep up with that and do it like they need to, then we will trust them to keep that medication in their room or on their person.
The other thing this form allows for us is to be able to provide emergency medical care for the students while they're in our program. So, for example, if there was any type of emergency that we needed to call an ambulance, the student to the hospital right away, this is a medical emergency, of course we are going to notify the person on this, contacts on this immediately, but we want to have the ability to take them to get them admitted to any kind of emergency care that they would need. So that is the other thing that this form allows us to do. And just to let you know too, the university does provide what's called accident insurance. So when the students are here in our care, either in the summer or on a trip with us or during the Saturday Academy, they're covered by what is called campers insurance, and that will cover any accidents that may occur. So the student, for example, they break their arm or something, maybe playing a sport or doing something, or accidentally fell and hurt themselves, that will be covered by our accident insurance. However, if they become ill, what we're going to do is call, now if it's an emergency and we deem it as an emergency that we need to take them, we will still get them to the medical, care that they need. But if it's just that the student is sick, has a temperature, has a stomach virus, something like that, we're going to contact you, because we do like to have those students go home. Because again, in a residence hall, anything like that will spread very quickly. So those kinds of things, we will call you first before we do any type of medical care or anything like that. Usually what we do is we try to turn that over to you, the parents, to take your child and any care that you'd like to give them. But that's why that form is so important. If there's anything specific you need to discuss, please feel free to talk to the central staff about that. And also, if for any reason there's information on here that you can't provide today, you can take any of these forms with you, and there is a white envelope over on the new student side of forms. Looks like this. So any forms that you need to mail back to us, like that you can't complete today, you will put in this envelope and you can mail it to us at a later time. So hopefully all of them you can fill out today. That would be great. But that's the lilac form.
That's a prepaid envelope.
Yes, this is a prepaid envelope. So all you have to do is put your stuff in here, throw it in the mail, and it will get to us, and no postage required. So I think the only other one that's a summer one, I'm sorry to go out of order, but I just wanted to hit this yellow form. This is that absence request. So if you know already an absence request for those 2 weeks, students are on campus, You can fill that out. Again, you're going to have these throughout the summer, even before coming. So if you need to fill us out at a later time, you can. Or if you know of already asked request you'd like to make, you can do that today. So we have the summer commitment, got all those. There is a commitment agreement. That's the first one on this list. It's actually over here on your new student form side. It's a white form. And it already has my signature on it. And this is just a commitment where we try to sort of make a contract with you, talk about all the things that Upward Bound is going to be providing you as a student in the program. So students, you agree to participate fully, and parents, you also provide us, just with an assurance that you're going to do your part to help the student be successful in Upward Bound, like providing transportation and that support. So it's just a way to kind of provide some agreement. So that's a kind of what we call the commitment form. If you will turn that one in as well, so sign in. Then we have a gray form that has what we call our participant authorization release information. This allows us to, for example, first it gives permission that the student can participate in the program, but also a release of information, because we do like to check on the students' grades. We want to make sure that we're giving them all the support that they need and know where they are academically. Also release information just even when they go beyond the program, when they actually enter college. And then authorization for immediate release. So if you'll fill that one out. And then there's a green one. This is the transportation. So there are going to be times, like Lacey talked about, we're going to go to Branson, we're going to go to Topgolf, so we have to transport the students. We do that in university-approved vehicles. Students are never transported in personal vehicles, but it's always either a charter bus or a van that we've rented, or however we're doing that. So those students do need permission to travel with us. So that's what this green form is. Also, students that attend some of our schools, like in St. Paul or Huntsville, during Saturday academies can be transported to and from the program. Then we have the blue card. So you may have already filled a lot of these out, but this is a blue card. This is, again, has some personal information, again, just confirming your address information that we need. So fill that one out. Then I also want to talk about this Social Security card. So we don't get this information when you initially enter the program, but there are a couple of instances that we actually need Social Security numbers. We take this very seriously to take this type of personal information, so do know that we don't share this information in any way, shape, or form. It is only used for really a couple of purposes. Number one, because we're a Department of Education program and a grant-funded program, there are times when we have to utilize that number. And then secondly, we also use that to get what's called the Tri-End report, which is through the Department of Education, which allows us to see transcripts of the students and get student records that we need to make sure they have the 2.5 or above, and also any scores that they have for our program and our objectives. And then lastly, we do give each student, and this will be something you'll get when you come to our summer program, you're going to be given an affiliate account with the University of Arkansas. So just like if you were a University of Arkansas student, you were going to get a University of Arkansas ID. Yours will just be an Upward Bound ID, but a student of the University of Arkansas ID. That will even allow you to check out books from the university library, some other privileges that you can use. You also will now have an ID that you could use if you need to take the ACT and don't have a photo ID. You'll also get to use the affiliate account to set up your own University of Arkansas email. So you'll have a University of Arkansas email just like the students here on campus do. And that's the one we'll actually utilize with you. And you will also, during your academics, use something called Blackboard. You might have heard of like Google Classroom. Everybody's been out of Google Classroom. Well, the University of Arkansas uses something called Blackboard, which is another learning management system, just like the college students use. So we're going to introduce you to that. So just like the college students, when they take classes and have a Blackboard class, you'll do all of that through a Blackboard class, just like if you were a University of Arkansas student. So in order to do that, though, we have to have that information. So I just want to go over that with you. Do you want to talk about the next? Okay. I'll let you, yeah, I can hit that one, and then I'll.
Awesome. So there's another form in here. We're lucky enough for some of our activities, we're going to be utilizing space at the Boys and Girls Club here in Fayetteville. And to utilize that space, our students need to be members. So the Boys and Girls Club here in Fayetteville are actually giving our students free membership. So we'll be able to use the pool there and all of their facilities like that. So those are our forms. There's also a vehicle authorization form. I don't figure any of y'all will be driving this summer. Yes, and so we also have a form in here. It's called the Upward Bound Program's Eligibility Verification Form. So whenever you applied online, you gave us this information. So it's about parents' education, and it also asks some financial information. This is information that we have to give to the Department of Education to let them know that our students are eligible for the program. We got that on the virtual form, but we just want to make sure that we have everything we need as far as physical signatures. So we're just kind of double checking and having everybody sign that physically. We're also going to ask for some information from your taxes specifically. So it's asking about your taxable income. So it's not your gross income. And so on this form, it says exactly which line to look at. And again, that just helps us with our grant, showing that we are working with students that are eligible for the program and students that will greatly benefit from the program. And so if any of that information you don't have today, or any of this paperwork, any information you don't have with you today, like Keith said, there is an envelope provided. It's prepaid, so you don't have to put any postage on it. And we have some extra ones out front. If you're like, I'm gonna need 2 envelopes, that's totally fine. So you can return that whenever. But yeah, so those are our forms. We covered a lot of information, but does anybody have any questions? Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
You answer
Yeah.
questions.
Any questions? Thoughts, concerns? Oh my goodness, we did such a good job.
Yay.